Hello everyone, this will not be a commentary video. This will be a video outlining the facts of the TRO between Katie Joy Paulson and Steve McRae. We're going to begin with the affidavit of Katie Paulson. The affidavit reads as follows. I submit this affidavit in support of my petition for harassment restraining order. In October 2018 through May 2019, I co-hosted a talk show with Mr. McRae on a YouTube channel. When the other host left the room, Mr. McRae began to say sexually explicit things to me, which made me feel uncomfortable. I did not confront him about this, but rather spoke with the host of the show afterward and indicated that I did not want to co-host with Mr. McRae anymore due to the sexual comments. 3. He has claimed that this allegation against him is false and has used it as a platform to harass me and try to destroy my career and to taint my followers. He has indicated that it is his intent to destroy me unless I apologize to him. 4. On or about June 12, 2019, Mr. McRae said he would, quote, unquote, take down anyone associated with his former channel that I co-hosted on YouTube October 2018 through June 2019. He accused me, along with 3 others, of conspiring to steal $60,000 from him. I had no part in anything he alleged. 5. He admitted on a live stream that he wants to be paid under the table or cash for his work so he could not lose his medical benefits through the state. This is his basis for claiming that I accused him of medical fraud. 6. Mr. McRae relentlessly bullies and harasses me through Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. I have blocked him, but he continues to create dozens of parody accounts to stalk and harass me by subtweets. He has done this because I have blocked him on all formats. 7. The name of my YouTube channel is Without a Crystal Ball. He has created a Facebook group entitled Without a Freaking Clue. This group is a hate group and is targeted at me and me alone. The group is used to talk about me and harass me. 8. He has said through multiple platforms that he will continue to harass and destroy me until I agree to apologize to him about my alleged false allegations of sexual harassment. 9. I have attached as Exhibit C just a handful of the things he has said or posted to harass me. 10. Between June 2019 to present, Mr. McRae uploaded more than 30 videos about me on his YouTube channel. The websites for his YouTube channel are as follows. I am unable to download all of the content to attach to this affidavit, but I will be using the videos and posts from this site as evidence in the event Mr. McRae contests this proceeding. I encourage the court to look at his channel and follow the hyperlink provided herein. Number 11 is about the faked screenshots, therefore I will be skipping over it. In November 2019, Mr. McRae claimed that I struck a channel, meaning that I was responsible for getting a channel taken down, and stole money from a mother. He held a fundraiser claiming I falsely struck the channel on YouTube and effectively stole a career from a family. I began receiving death threats from his fans. 13. In November 2019, Mr. McRae claimed on Twitter that I have fabricated my son's illnesses and suggested that I have Munchausen by proxy. Despite my son having verifiable conditions, I began receiving messages from his fans that I'm a child abuser. Some fans have gone as far as finding my location to try and contact me. My son has severe disabilities and needs 24-hour care. We have nurses and personal care assistants that help with my son, all of which are mandated reporters and are required to report any abuse. 14. In November 2019, Mr. McRae claimed that I was a danger to the community and called me an existential threat on humanity. He told his patrons that he will not stop speaking about me until my career is buried. 15. In December 2019, Mr. McRae uploaded videos continuing to assert that screenshots were crafted by me. I continued to receive death threats. 16. In December 2019, Mr. McRae reached out to reality TV personality Ashley Jones from Team Mom. I did a story about Ashley in December 2019, and the two of them started a hate group entitled Without a Freaking Clue. The hate group is now used to target and harass me. The group admits to having my address, and Ashley Jones admits during a live stream that the group discusses getting the bitch, quote unquote. 17. In December 2019, Ashley Jones leaves the group. Mr. McRae takes over as administrator of the hate group. The group targets my tweets. They admit to stalking my Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook to document everything I do in order to, quote, expose me. 18. In January 2020, Mr. McRae says he will not stop talking about me because he was exposed for lying about the striking of the channel and the screenshots were proven fake. 19. In January 2020, Sherelle, another YouTube creator, asks me to collaborate with her. Mr. McRae directs his hate group to target the video that I made with her and harass Sherelle. They told her that I am a child abuser, liar, and they flooded her YouTube channel with over 4,000 comments. She eventually turns on me and believes their lies. 20. In March through May of 2020, Mr. McRae and his group called the police on me, contacted my neighbors, posted a police report on YouTube of a dispute I had with my neighbors, which was peacefully resolved, and passed around my address in direct messages. They laugh and have made comments that she thinks she's safe. They have also contacted my husband's employer. 21. In May 2020, Mr. McRae teamed up with Sherelle to, quote, expose me. He claims I stole money from him, falsely accused him of fraud and sexual harassment. When Sherelle canceled the series, he published an article accusing me of theft, fraud, using the Me Too movement, and put together screenshots out of order. They then posted them together to paint me as a monster. I continued to receive death threats. 22. Mr. McRae has reached out to my professional network, including other creators, prior editors, etc., and has encouraged them not to work with me. He is trying to ruin my career. 23. The amount of harassment online is astounding. I told my followers that I would be taking legal action. He did not believe that I would follow through and had his attorney contact me to verify that I would be taking legal action. He has talked extensively about how this is a veiled threat and that he has done nothing wrong. 24. I have consulted with multiple attorneys and have been advised that I have significant defamation claims and could start a lawsuit that would require him to take down all the content he has put out. 25. I have chosen to start with this restraining order, but will pursue the full lawsuit if he does not stop harassing me. 26. I am frightened by his actions. His entire existence online revolves around me, and he continues to take it further and further. He has now published my address. With all the death threats I have received, I am terrified of what will happen to me if these people come to my house. My family is not safe, and I am not safe. 27. The harassment is having an extreme effect on my safety, security, and privacy and has caused me to have panic attacks and lose sleep. I have loss of appetite and am in constant fear for my safety at home. I work from home, so there is no place I feel safe. 28. I know that the harassment will not stop unless something happens and he is forced to stop. 29. I don't want him to be able to talk about me online anymore. 30. He should be forced to disband his hate group against me. 31. I want this harassment to stop. 32. He has hurt me financially as my online presence is my livelihood. 33. My safety and the safety of my family are compromised by his constant threat and harassment. Signed, Katie Paulson. Next, I will be reading from Katie Paulson's petition for the TRO. Respondent has followed, monitored, or pursued the victim as follows. Respondent has been cyberstalking me since June 2019. He has uploaded 30 videos, created multiple hate groups, posted my son's medical history, my address, and directed people to harass me. On May 26, 2020, Respondent and his associates created a subreddit and posted my address, phone, and neighbor's address and phone. Respondent made harassing phone calls or sent harassing text messages to the victim as follows. Respondent has used social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, to contact me despite my request to leave me alone. Respondent made threats to the victim as follows. Respondent has threatened to ruin my career. In September 2019, he repeatedly tweeted that I was on his radar and said numerous times that he will not stop until my career is ruined. Respondent frightened the victim with threatening behavior as follows. Respondent has uploaded dozens of videos, tweets, and messages and has provided my address to people who have threatened to get me. I have received death threats, and because my address has been published, not only do I need protection, but the harassment must stop to protect the safety of my husband and son. Respondent stole property from the victim as follows. Respondent has stolen intellectual property of mine and uploaded to his YouTube for the sole purpose to harass me. Respondent took pictures of the victim without permission as follows. Respondent has used my and my son's images on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook without my consent to harass me. Describe the effect the harassment has upon the victim's safety, security, or privacy. My life has been flipped upside down since he started in 2019. The police have been called to my house, threats of CPS calls. My neighbors have been contacted. My address and images of me have been posted online without my consent. Do you believe the harassment will continue? Yes. He has promised he will not stop until my career and channel are burned to the ground. Harassment is ongoing and as recent as today's date. Next, I will be reading the evidence that Katie Paulson submitted to the court as reason for her TRO. The first screenshot says as follows. No, she is a gossip-mongering, demonstrable liar who will attack you, your friends, and anyone who is around you if you dare speak out against her. She helped my partner cover up stealing $60,000+ by fraud, for which he was found liable for in court. I don't follow the Duggars, but you may be interested in my story about Katie Joy Paulson. The next is a screenshot of the Facebook group Without a Freaking Clue. However, since the screenshot is in Spanish, I will not be reading it to you. The next is a screenshot of a tweet by Steve McRae. The screenshot says as follows. The top 10 shred of non-existing evidence that Katie Joy refuses to provide to her followers. Please feel free to share. The top 10 shred of non-existing evidence that Katie Joy refuses to provide to her followers. If any of her followers or mods ask her for any evidence for any of these things, they almost always get demoted and blocked, should they insist on seeing the evidence. So far to date, not one person has shown us the evidence provided by Katie when asked. Several dozens have said they have been blocked for even asking. Things Katie's followers and non-followers are waiting for evidence of. 1. A shred of evidence that I ever sexually harassed her. 2. A shred of evidence that I ever committed any fraud, medical or otherwise. Strange, isn't it, how I still have medical and Kyle was found liable for fraud, not me. 3. A shred of evidence that I have a troll group that harasses her. 4. A shred of evidence that I or Cheshire ever faked any emails or screenshots. 5. A shred of evidence that I have multiple Twitter accounts. I have 2, and 1 has liked a dozen tweets, no retweets, and no DMs. 6. A shred of evidence that I have or ever had collected Social Security. 7. A shred of evidence that I have or have ever collected disability. 8. A shred of evidence that I have ever told Kyle to pay me under the table. She, in fact, explicitly said Kyle was lying to her about this. 9. A shred of evidence that I have committed any crime, participated in any criminal activity, hacking, doxing, stalking, etc., or done anything illegal with regards to her that would require a restraining order, criminal or civil lawsuit. 10. A shred of evidence that I have a troll army I command or even have ever asked a single person to harass her in any way whatsoever. I have challenged her followers and mods to ask her for evidence for these things. Katie calls that harassment. That isn't harassment. That is me merely highly suggesting people who want facts ask her for them. If they don't, that is fine too. Fun fact, hundreds of thousands have now seen the truth, which was not from her, but from groups like this and other accounts that keep accounts of her lies, mistruths, false statements, and contradictions. I challenge anyone who has asked Katie Joy Paulson for evidence for any of these top 10 things to come here and show us that evidence in this thread. Let's see how many do. I'm going to bet 0 do. Any takers? The next is a screenshot of a private message between Steve and someone else. Flossie and Leslie want Katie exposed. I made them promises. I agree wholeheartedly. I tried to call Leslie, but unavail. I will try again today. We are trying to get to the bottom of it. So much of Katie's past is coming out. I promise I will do whatever I can to expose Katie for the evil she is. People are scared to talk about taboo things. I am not. This needs to be addressed, as Katie is harming families with kids. If I don't, who will? No one, and Katie moves from one group to another, scamming. FYI, you are all friends with Katie Paulson. The next is of a screenshot featuring price histories for Katie's property. I have redacted the screenshot though. The next is a screenshot of a Facebook post by Steve McRae, which reads as follows. I have no idea who put out Katie's information, but did see it in the WOACB Reddit, which I left. First, that is not doxing. It was her LLC information and address, which she has public. Public information is not doxing if she puts it out there as her contact information. However, it shouldn't be done merely for the fact there is no reason to share that information, and it just gives her and her troll spin to use by falsely claiming that she was doxed. Example, my contact information is public. Anyone can go find it. If you post it on social media, that is not doxing. It is just bad form. Dox means search for and publish private or identifying information about a particular individual on the internet, typically with malicious intent. Private information. Contact information is not doxing, but of course they will use doxing as a weapon, so why give them the ammo? For what reason is there to want to give out Katie's home address? None. Her home address, even if she puts it out publicly as her contact information, isn't something that needs to be shared. We care about her lies, false statements, and historical revision. Her address has fuck all to do with any of that. Don't post it here or on Reddit. But do note, she doesn't even understand what doxing even means. She just uses it for persecution porn. The following screenshot is of posts made in the Facebook group Without a Freaking Clue by Steve and another member. Steve says, doxing isn't even illegal. Her information is public and no tort there either. Like I had fuck all to do with it, LOL. I left that group today as it was full of trolls. Let them blame me. Shows just how inept they are at critical thinking. Dottie says, Jason is blaming you hardcore. He's the one that needs to be sued. Steve says, let him, LOL. We want the people who can see he is full of shit to come here and learn the truth. He is doing us a favor by making false allegations he knows he can't support. He ever provide that evidence I said wanted to dance on Katie's grave? Nope. People are seeing through his bullshit. Let them. Ashley says, Steve, you're without any crystal balls, Steve, LOL, because you, and without a crystal ball, like to put Katie Joy Paulson. See more. The next is a screenshot of another post from the group on Facebook Without a Freaking Clue. In this screenshot, Steve says, I'm still confused when Tina Alcott-You admitted to doxing Katie Joy. Where again did this happen, Tina? Tina posts, it never happened. Doxing is releasing information that isn't public. If releasing a pic of an empty field is doxing, I think everyone is guilty. Here's the pic. Y'all be the judge. Steve says, fucking ridiculous, an empty field? Steve says, so how the hell can that dumbass thinks you doxed her? Steve says, oh wait, because he is a complete dumbass. The next is a screenshot of a post by Steve McRae in the Facebook group Without a Freaking Clue. The post goes on to say, don't you hate reporters who share fake news? People who are anti-bully but bully everyone? Let's talk. There's a new Katie Joy in town. This group is to keep historical record of Katie Joy Paulson, a self-proclaimed journalist who uses historical revisionism to constantly change her stories. It is not a troll group, and any form of bullying or harassment will be removed. Truth is welcomed. Trolling is not. The comments say, Steve, fix typos. Candace, who's the new KJ? Steve says, Tina, I assume. I didn't write that part. Steve says, the anti-Katie, I guess. The next piece of evidence is a screenshot of a tweet by Steve McRae. The tweet goes on to say, my lawyer is contacting Katie about her legal action to obtain the name of her lawyer that is representing her. Let's see who she has representing her, if it is just another bluff, just like Kyle lied about. Same playbook, possibly. The next is a screenshot of a private DM from Steve's lawyer to Katie. Glenn goes on to say, hi Katie, Steve has asked me to act on his behalf again for any legal proceedings that might be coming up. I'm hoping you can give me the contact details for your lawyer and I can formalize things like power of attorney, acceptance of service, etc. with them. The next bit of evidence is a screenshot of a Facebook post by Steve McRae. Steve goes on to say, I have seen the bare-naked, unadulterated, morally reprehensible, repugnant, sociopathic face of evil today. And thy name is Katie Joy Paulson. I can't release the screenshots yet, but when they are, soon, you will know pure evil. The next evidence is a screenshot of a Facebook post by Steve McRae. Steve goes on to say, I have explicit confirmation from Leslie Bass to have released information after it was released in other videos and screen caps. The only person hurting a grieving family is Katie Joy Paulson. Katie, in the picture of a tweet, says, yep, they are hurting a grieving family. The next bit of evidence is of a screenshot regarding the fake screenshots and the other tragic information, so I will not be reading this one. And this screenshot is the continuation of the post from the previous screenshot. The following evidence is a screenshot of a tweet by Steve McRae. Steve goes on to say, was talking to my Navy friend other day who was talking about having a .45 rack to wake him up. And now, when I watch a police show and they rack their guns, I notice that sound of an empty chamber versus one with an actual bullet being loaded. To me, at least, the sound is different. The next three screenshots are from the subreddit WOACB, and these are posts in that subreddit by someone named Potential Ice 4 that posted Katie's address. The next two pieces of evidence are screenshots of a tweet by Little Red. The second one says, at Steve McRae, doxed KJP's husband's employer, then he doxed her address and phone number, all of which the dumbass posted herself, and my all-time fave. The next bit of evidence is a screenshot of a tweet by Steve McRae. Steve goes on to say her LLC is public information. Doxing isn't even illegal, just bad form. She wasn't doxed if she has her public information out there. It is comical idiots don't understand what doxing even is, and she uses their ignorance as a sympathy tool. What legal right would she... The following is a screenshot of a Reddit post by Steve McRae. In this, Steve goes on to say, can someone give me a really brief summary of all the mistakes Katie Joy Paulson has made with regards to Teen Mom? Amber was going to sue her, and I am also giving it serious consideration as I am already in litigation with her ex-co-host from The Smoking Nun, and would like to have a history of her fails as a self-proclaimed journalist. Investigative reporter. Next, we have a screenshot of another Reddit post by Steve McRae in Fundy Snark. The post goes on to say, my truth, my story, and being Me Too'd by vlogger Katie Joy Paulson. Moderator says, this will be removed. It is off topic and not pertinent to this subreddit. Steve says, apologies, not sure how this is an AMA, but thank you. The next is a screenshot of the About section of a subreddit. It goes on to say, this is a Reddit primarily to keep track of the historical revision of celebrity gossip monger and tabloid journalist without a crystal ball. The following evidence is a screenshot of a Reddit post. However, I am unable to read it since it is very small and very blurry. Evidence is actually a duplicate of the very first piece of evidence I read here. This next piece of evidence is a screenshot of a Facebook post by Steve McRae in the Facebook group Without a Freaking Clue. And this Steve goes on to say, due to continual threats to me, my friends, and other people, it is highly recommended for your own safety that you do not release any personal information about yourself that can be used against you. Some people are leaving the group to use alt accounts due to privacy and safety concerns, and I completely understand why. I don't even myself want to know whose alt is whose, if at all possible. The people we deal with are dangerous. Let me make that perfectly clear. They are dangerous. This is not hyperbole, nor empty rhetoric. These people we deal with will attack you and those you know relentlessly and unmercifully. This is well-established fact. You need to know when you stand up for what is right, you become a target from those who just want to harm people. Don't take chances. Be safe. Nothing is worth your safety or your lives. One day, one of these insane people may snap and harm someone in real life. Probabilistically, it is just a matter of time, perhaps. Do not underestimate sociopaths, as they count on decent people doing just that. The post comments go on to say, hide your friends list too if you use your personal account. Don't let them have access to innocent people you're friends with on here. Whacked out. I always suggest to hide everything. Lock your accounts down totally so they cannot see anything, and don't add friends unless you know them personally. Also, they will try to befriend you through DMs to gain access to personal information that they can use against you. Trust no one. And this last piece of evidence is another duplicate from a piece of evidence I read in the very beginning. And lastly, I will be reading the confidentiality agreement or the non-disclosure agreement between Steve and Katie. Whereas Katie from Minnesota, whereas Steve from California, whereas Katie applied for and received an ex parte order granting petition for harassment restraining order in X County in Minnesota. Whereas Stephen requested a hearing in the above-captioned harassment restraining order file, and said hearing was scheduled for June 22, 2020, whereas Catherine is in the process of initiating a separate defamation action against Stephen in Minnesota District Court, whereas prior to the harassment restraining order hearing in court file and before Steve was served with the summons and complaints in Catherine's defamation action, the parties reached an agreement as follows. Catherine Paulson shall dismiss without prejudice the harassment restraining order proceeding in X County, Minnesota, for a period of 1 year, unless otherwise extended in Catherine Paulson's Minnesota defamation action against Stephen McRae. Neither party shall do any of the following directly or indirectly through agents or representatives. A. Contact the other party or comment on their online profiles, pages, channels. B. Disparage the other party. C. Defame the other party. Or D. Make or participate in making any statement regarding the dismissal of the harassment restraining order. The only exception to the prohibition outlined in paragraph 2 above is that Catherine Paulson and Stephen McRae may, at their discretion, publish the following statement. The Minnesota harassment restraining order against captioned Catherine Mansky Paulson v. Stephen McRae has been dismissed without prejudice. There is a pending Minnesota civil action captioned Catherine Paulson v. Stephen McRae and Trina Rogers that is unresolved. No further comment is appropriate at this time. 4. In the event that a party violates this confidentiality agreement, the non-violating party shall be entitled to liquidated damages from the violating party in the amount of $5,000 for each violation, together with any costs and attorney fees associated with recovery of the same. By signing below, I declare under penalty of perjury that everything stated above is true and correct, and that I agree to be bound by the above terms. I purposely made this video not as a commentary video, but just as a providing facts and evidence video. So this way, whenever anyone has any questions or arguments or discrepancies about what occurred and what was handed in as evidence, this way there is an accurate representation of what it was that transpired and what it was that was given to the court. Though I think to anyone who sees this, I think it is plain as day that the evidence in which she handed into the court did not support a TRO or an RO.